What is up, guitar legends? We're looking at one of my favourite songs of all time today. It's the Toy Story theme tune, You've Got a Friend in Me, but fingerstyle. If you want to learn how to play the chords for the song or the melody, I've made separate lessons for those. Links are in the description. You're going to need the capo on fret number 3. We are going to be working with a tab for the entire song, which is super helpful for learning fingerstyle. There is also a play along at the end of this video, so you can try and play along with me. Don't forget you can slow down the YouTube video by changing the settings to half speed. Also, this is a challenging song. If you want an easier song to learn, the Titanic theme tune is an easier starting point for fingerstyle theme tunes. Alright, this one is pretty tricky. It's only 2 minutes long, but it's very difficult. The key here is repetition and playing slowly. So let's dive straight into the introduction, that kind of main riff that happens at the start, the middle and the end of the song. Just so you know guys, I do use my thumb, first, second and third finger to play this song, but it is possible to do it without the third finger. Alright, very occasionally I use my fourth finger if I'm doing whole chords, just so I get an extra note in there. But again, you don't have to do that. Anything I teach you, you can simplify it by just taking out a note. So have a look at this tab, guys. We're going to start with a C chord. Alright, so get your C chord ready before you even begin the intro. It's my advice to you. And we're going to do this to begin with. Okay, remember this is a swung song, so it goes da 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 da. Okay, it's not a straight song. It doesn't go da 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 da. It's bouncy bum 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 bum. Just bear that in mind. All right. With this start part, we are gonna use thumb first, second, third. If you don't want to use your third, just use your thumb twice, like that. All right. We are gonna hammer on the pinky, as you can see, after we pick the B string. We bring that down to create a new note. Right? We don't pick that note, it just creates it itself, you see? Hammer on. Now after we've done that, we're going to have to quickly move over to this new shape. This is quite hard at first, it seems really confusing, but once you've done it a few times slowly, it's not too bad. So the pinky's already here, and the first thing is going to shoot up to be in the bass here. Second fret on the A string. And we do both at the same time. You're then going to reach your pinky over to the 5th fret from the capo on the B string. So we've had this a nice chromatic melody. Okay, you can just do the E string, it's the same note, but I like to stretch across. Right. To do that, you can bring the wrist a bit lower, it makes it easy to stretch. I then do a little slap. All I do is bring the hands in, like that. It just makes a nice little slapping sound. Right, now when you land though, try and make sure your fingers land on the right strings for the next part. So I've tried to land them as best as I can here for the A minor chord. So as soon as you've done that, jump over to A minor. You see what I did there? A minor is straight in. Alright, again, you don't have to use the third finger, but I use thumb on the A string, and then second and third are on the bottom 2 strings. And then I play the G string with the first finger. Down, down. So do this really slowly, guys, like this pace. And then you try it again. Just make sure you can do that really, even slower if you need to, it's fine, alright? Just pause the video, do it a gazillion times, and then you move on. After we hit the A minor chord, we do another little slap. That's what the crosses are for. Alright, that just means rhythmical slapping. So we go now this shape, very strange. The simplified version, okay, is this. We just do 2 notes. Okay, but make sure you have 4th fret in the bass here. From the capo, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's got to be in the bass. The top line It's going to be 4th from Capo, 3rd from Capo. Alright, so you can do it with this simplified version here. I like to get this top note in though, because that's what you hear in the song, right? This is the actual, there's a few people that play this incorrectly on YouTube. This is the correct way of doing it. It's a bit of a stretch. Alright, you just have to really kind of bring the elbow into the side a bit, bring the palm up a bit, create more space for yourself, bring the hand forward so the fingers are very curled. You can create enough space here. 3rd finger's on the bass for the advanced version. Pinky is covering that note there, 1st finger, top note. And then, when the pinky comes away, we have 2nd finger already in place. Okay, so just work on this high part, don't worry about the bass note yet. Just try and do that. The high note stays there, the middle note changes. Then add the bass note. Very difficult, remember, this is the beginner version. This way's fine, much easier. So with the slap all together, slap, slap, slap. Even this bit we can slap, but let's learn it first. We have, again, the same strings as before, but we've kind of moved along, so you move along 1 fret, right? 3rd finger is now here, 3rd from Capo. 1st finger's on the B string, 1st from Capo, and you can get the top E string as well if you want to. That's kind of an option, doesn't necessarily matter, but it is in the song. Then you hit the open G string. So 3 at once, G string. In case you're wondering what those circly black lines are, those are called ties, alright? You don't play both notes, you play the first one. The tie is just showing you that it's going to last for both of those beats, right? So all together we have. Now I don't add a slap on this last one, I just let it ring, okay? So we've gone from here, then we move over to this shape, alright? Kind of like a altered dominant G7 chord here. So 2nd finger is now going to move to this bass note here, alright? We had it before, but the 3rd finger was covering it before. But we have to change to the 2nd finger to free up the others. You could use 1st finger if you want. It's fine by me, that works too. Alright, but I've just got used to playing it this way now personally. Alright, as long as the notes are correct, that's all that matters. So, the other 2 notes, okay, it's quite hard to pick because we're skipping a string. I use thumb 1st and 3rd. Some of you might want to use your 2nd finger at the bottom there. But I use 3rd, thumb 1st, 3rd. Keep the bass note ringing, and you play the 2nd 2 notes after you change. All I'm doing, I'm on the 4th fret from Capo here, D string, B string. Then you move them in 1 fret, right? Alright, intro, all together we have. For some reason when I play this slower I always mess up that difficult part. So if you mess up and you don't get the top note, it doesn't matter. You're still playing it, it still sounds good. That top note is just a little extra thing. It doesn't matter if you mess it up. So like I said, move slowly with this, play this riff really slowly, following the tab again and again and again and again. Okay, you might want to spend today just on this intro, maybe the next bit we're about to learn too. And then you come back tomorrow and you start learning the verse part. Alright, just spend a day on each part at least, because it takes time to get good at this stuff. The next part of the intro we have. Now, a lot of people play this wrong that I've seen on YouTube. They just play. They kind of just plays C and G, really basic versions. If you listen carefully to what the vocalists are singing, the piano is twinkling, we actually have this. Okay, the bass note goes C, G, G, G. The chord is C, B, B flat, and B, right? That is exactly what happens. Listen carefully to the song, you can hear that's what happens. It sounds cool too. Now we can keep it simple if you want, you can just go. Just do 2 on each chord, that's fine, that's the simple version. If you want to do the nice twinkly, rinky-tink piano part, we're going to do thumb, first finger, and then you need to do 2 at the same time, and then the middle one again. So you're basically going down and up. Right, bum, 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 bum. Alright, so the actual chord is going blend, 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 blend. The bass note is C, G, 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 and C, G, G, G. On the last one, you can just leave out the final middle note. Give yourself time to come to the verse. So that's the riff. That happens 3 times, right? Not the twinkly part. That just happens once at the start. But the first part, that happens 3 times. The beginning, after verse 1, and right at the end of the song. So all we have left now, we've got verse 1, 2, 3, and the bridge. Okay, the verses are obviously all pretty similar as well, so there's some repetition, but be surprised how different they actually are. So let's look at bar 1. Okay, if you know the song well, hopefully you know how he sings it. You got a friend in me. Okay, it helps to think about the song. You also need to realize that the bass note is always doing this. It's always on the beat for pretty much the whole song. Just that kind of helps you learn the song. When you realize that the thumb is always doing that, it kind of helps get a sort of natural rhythm with this. So look at the first bar. We start with 2 notes, then we play the D string. And because of the bass note, we have to come straight in with the thumb. And then we play the D string again. Now as soon as you play that D string, bring the 3rd finger up, because you need to get the next part ready. You see that? As soon as you play the D string, the 3rd finger needs to be coming up for the next chord. And then we're going to do E string and the G string at the same time, and then hammer on the 2nd finger. Okay, so this little thing here, this is a grace note. Alright, it just means that we play the open string first, because there's a 0. Okay, and then we scoop onto the 2nd fret, which is why there's a 2. Okay, you could just play the 2 on its own. That's fine, but it's easier to change this way. Like that. The next bit's easy, we just take the 2nd finger off and we play. So E and G again, and then G once. Alright. Again, on that last note, as you do it, move down to the next chord. So it's ready. You see that? It's all together. And again we have. So this is kind of a movement in the C chord. We add the 9th, normal, then 7th. So again, I have my thumb, 1st, 2nd and 3rd finger all ready in these 4 middle strings. But if you're not using the 3rd finger, you're just going to have to jump around a little bit more. So we play this. Start with the first 3. we've got to do both at the same time there. And the pinky needs to come down to get that 3rd fret. And then you take it straight off. Just try and work on that part. Then the pinky comes down again, but this time on the G string. So we have. So that second half is just. So all together. And again. Then we try and put the 2 bars together. Okay, always do 1 bar, next bar, put them together. Alright, the next bar we're going to have F major, so try getting this shape ready. We're going to start with thumb and D string. And then 3rd finger gets the B string. And then middle finger on the G string. Okay, and the bass comes in again. So just try that. You can leave the shape down for that first part. But then middle finger comes off for open G. Sounds kind of nice on its own. So from here, we're going to move the thumb up a fret, and we're also going to have the pinky here. So this might be a bit of a stretch for you. What I do is I kind of bring my elbow into my side a bit. The palm is against the guitar to help with this stretch. So we have. So I do bass note and B string first, then the D string, and then bass and G string, and the middle finger comes off again. Alright, then for the next bar, your 3rd finger is already in place to do this. We have C in the bass. So you do bass, G string, and then 3 at the same time. So, alright, the second half, we have a cool little, it's basically a B7 to C7, but you don't have to put your 3rd finger in. You can just make sure you pluck the right strings. So we're going to pluck the A string, but also G, B, and E. So I just bar the whole 1st finger down. You can use your 2nd finger to help push it in, so you've got double strength. Pinky's on the B string 2 frets away. Okay. So this bar. Boo-do-dun, bum, bum. So this whole line now, all together we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, this is really difficult, guys. Just work on each set of 2 bars really slowly. Play it several times. I had to play it a gazillion times as well, okay? Don't think I just saw the tab, made the tab, and figured it out instantly. Okay, it took me ages to figure it out, and then it took me ages to actually play it well. So on to the second line we have. For the second line, the chords are changing quite quickly. It's going F, then C, then E, then A minor, then F, then C, then E, then A minor. So this part's kind of confusing in that sense, but the rest of the notes are a little bit easier. Just start with the first 3 notes, right? We're going to do bass, G, then both the bass and D string. Just try that. As soon as you hit the G string, bring everything off so you can move to the C major shape. That's the secret with this, it's moving ahead of time. So watch what my chord hand does, it's going to move as I hit the G string. Then I'm ready for the C shape. same with the C major shape. We start with the bass note, D string, bass note. Then I have open D, so I can move in time. Now you can move to the E major shape if you want to, but I'm just playing the open E and B string, so you don't actually need it necessarily. So just watch, we have. So look at the second bar we have. We barely even need any fingers. The first finger comes down here at one point. Alright, we basically have E to A minor. So whilst you don't have to put the chord shape down, you might want to. The next part is A minor, so what I do, instead of putting the whole chord down, I just do what I need. So middle finger is going to play that second fret. The reason there's a curve there is because they're connected, so we can do a pull off there. Okay, it only counts as a tie if they're the same note. Okay, but if we're changing notes, it's either a pull off or a hammer on. This is a pull off. Now as we pull off, I hit the A string again. Takes a bit of coordination to do that. And then that note is still there for the B string. So the second bar all together. And again. Then I bring the first, this stays here, still the first finger, but I bring the thumb over for the third bar. So we go back to F again. Now when we get to F, we do that same little technique there. We play the bass note, play, pull off and bass note again. And it comes back down again. And we're back to C. So this is weird now because for C usually the second finger's up here, but now it's kind of got to stay there. So what we can do, we can use the first finger to replace that. So first finger is actually going to do this D string note. Okay, so from the third bar, and again, that last two you're going to have to move ahead of time. So for the last two, use your third finger. You have to jump over to it, because we have the E major chord coming up in the last bar. Okay, so from the third bar, see what I did there? I just moved over just for the last two. So just work on that, practice making sure that you're in the right place ahead of time. So for the last bar, I start with the E major chord. So do bass note, 3 strings, bass note, A minor, bass note, D string, bass note. It's the same shape, it just moves down a string, right? And I do the D, G and B string for both those shapes. So the second line all together we have. Now we are on to the third line. So the third line sounds like this. Takes us back into the riff. Alright, so part of this third line happens a lot in the song. So the final 3 bars, alright, they happen several times in this song because they're like the turnaround of the verses. Okay, but this first part, this only happens once in the whole song. Is the part that goes, "You just remember what your old pal said," right? You just remember what your pal says you. Okay, so this bit is really challenging. I'm not gonna lie to you, it really is. If you want to simplify it, just take away some of the higher notes and just play more of the bass notes, it will still work. But if you want to play the whole thing, here we go. We have, so just start with those first 3 notes. So thumb on the bass note, it's 1st fret, 2nd finger here on the G string. Okay, then we move the bass note along, and we have open B as well. Now, really important here for that number 3, play it with your 4th finger. Okay, trust me, you have to do it with your 4th finger. So we have like that. Now this is why we use the 4th finger. So we have fingers spare for the next shape, right? Now weirdly, this chord is actually C major, but G is in the bass. Right, sometimes you have the 5th of a chord in a bass. Sounds pretty good. So the way we're doing this, we follow what the bass guitar does as well as fitting the vocal in. It goes boom, 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 boom. So next, we play the bass in the B string. But the 3rd finger has to move down. Watch what the 3rd finger's doing here. It has to move down about halfway through that downward arpeggio. So we have, yeah, you see that? It hops down at the last second there. Which you can see this as a C major shape, right? So that's the first bar. Watch what I do with my wrist as well. It's up, up, down, up, up, down, right? Now these shapes here, the first time I tried them, super difficult. Again, it just takes repetition. I mean, the actual chords are like an F7 to E7, but we also want to get his vocal line. Oh man said, da, da, da. Oh pal said. So we're trying to get that within this. Basically we have 2nd finger on the A string, 3rd fret, 4th finger on the B string, that's 4th fret from Capo. Then the 1st finger is going to bar 2nd fret on the D and the G string. Right. Then you move over to E7 shape with the added 7th here with the pinky. So the whole thing slides over. The only thing that changes is the 1st finger kind of drops down to the G string 1st fret here. Okay, so we go. So just work on that chord transition. And then make sure when you're on that 2nd chord, you move the thumb up to the low E string, like so. So you get, that. Then we have a minor chord to finish that little chord progression there. So I just do the middle 4 strings, A minor. So all together. If you accidentally don't get the E string, this still sounds fine, but you try and get it. So finish this, so from the A minor chord, we do that trick again where we play the G string. As we pull off, we're going to hit the A string as well. Then 3rd finger drops down, which is good because we've just pulled it off. Okay, now we've got a D7 shape here. So just make sure that's the 3rd finger is dropped down to the E string 2nd fret. The 1st finger stays where it is. Okay. Then we play the D string for the next bar, so A minor. So far for this line we have really think about what he sings there. You just remember what your pal said. Yeah, you got a friend in me. Yeah, you got a friend. So the last 3 bars of the second line, this is kind of the turnaround of each verse. Pretty much happens every verse. So get that starting position in from the second bar. We had this, and we play the D string. We're going to do this. So we play D twice, but second finger is going to come down on the G string 2nd fret, and then off. And we play the G string. Now as you're doing that, move up. So we have see that as soon as I hit the G string, 3rd finger's coming up. For this G chord, I do 3 at the same time. I've got the bass, D and G string. You can see that little grace note there. I hammer on the 2nd finger to 2nd fret on the G string. Then I play them all again. Like that. Then you can see we've got 5, a dash and a 3. So I go bang, bang, bang. If you think about the way he sings this, he doesn't sing friend in me, does he? He does a slide, he goes friend in me, me. There's that super fast slide. That's what makes the vocal sound so much better than most instruments, because you get all these scoops and slides, right? So you can do that with your 3rd finger. You just slide quickly. Alright, make sure you do it fairly fast though. So when you practice this 3rd bar, make sure you get the trail off the 2nd bar there. You play this first. Right. So for this next bar, we need to make sure, as soon as we do that slide, that we have the 2nd finger in place. On the D string, 2nd fret. Okay, so we do a D, G string, and then thumb and B string at the same time. Like that. As soon as we hit that, 2 notes this once, we got to move down to our A7 chord, right? So 2nd finger can stay there, right? Now I even add the 1st finger in, G string 2nd fret, afterwards, because that's where he sings. Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, you gotta. So make sure when you're there that you pluck the G string with the 1st finger 2nd fret. You gotta squeeze it in, right? Really push everything towards the body here, so you can really squeeze that 1st finger in. Get another A string as well. Then we jump down from here, move down to the D7 shape again. It sort of brought us full circle, right? So we have. And so that part, this is kind of the same. If you look at this 5th bar compared to the 3rd bar, can you see it's exactly the same, right? So once we've learned this 4th bar, it kind of works. The only difference is that slide, instead of it being squeezed into the bar, we can drag it into the riff bar. Right, because it becomes the 1st note of the riff. Alright. So this turnaround is really tricky, but it happens in the other verses pretty much exactly the same way, so it's worth just spending the time learning this. So this whole final line here of the verse 1, we have this riff again, exactly the same as before. You gotta, into verse 2, right? For those of you that want to take your playing to the next level, make sure you sign up to my premium membership website. You'll gain access to all my backing tracks, all of my lessons, and I'll teach you how to improvise, solo, and play advanced chords. Enjoy the rest of your lesson, guys. So verse 2, have a look at the first part. Guess what, guys? The whole first line is exactly the same as verse 1, which is awesome, right? So we still have, you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Oh, exactly the same, right? But the next two lines he sings slightly differently, and then the turnaround's kind of the same. So the second line we have, just think about the words he sings here. He actually sings, if you got troubles, I got them too. There isn't anything. The words you sing, it makes it easier to separate this verse from the other one in your mind. So let's start with this first part. Okay, you don't even need the whole of the chord here, just the D string and G string, right? Da, da, da. So just work on the first 4. Now, you do have to kind of shift up. These two fingers have to shift up for C major, don't they? We've gone from F, da, 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 da. So you kind of have to think ahead of time. Oh, I need to jump like this. Right? Da, da, da. So just make that, the first 3 that you see there, just make that a really short one, and you have more time to change. Alright, then that last 3, just a single stalk, it's a little bit longer, gives you time to think about the next chord, right? Now, for the second bar, you can kind of move to your E major shape. That does make it easier, in my opinion. And then we jump to the A minor shape, so we move everything down a string as well for the second half of that bar. So it sounds like this. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I got 'em too, I got 'em too. But the bass note, still doing this, right? So the bass note for the first 2 bars, right? Bear that in mind, it helps you kind of get into a rhythm once you get a little bit faster with this. But just isolate the second bar for a second here. Just the first 3, right? So do 3 at the same time, then 1 on its own, and then 2 at the same time. It's a bit strange. Okay. If you want, you can just add a note in, right? You don't have to play this exactly as I play it, guys. You can adjust it slightly. So that A minor is pushed a little earlier than halfway in the bar. Okay, so that 4th one is A minor. And then to make the rest of the bar easy, I just made it 0, 2, 0. Nice and easy, right? So the chords, we played F there, then we played C, E major, then we played A. And just like the other verse, it happens again. Do, do, da, da, do, that I wouldn't do for you. Alright, so this time, bum, bum, bum. Watch out for that triplet there. You see there's a little 3 above there? That's kind of a da, 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 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So instead of going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, we can split them into triplets when we're trying to squeeze more notes in. That's the way he sings it. I don't know anything. There isn't anything. 1, 2, 3. It's a little bit quicker. Dun, dun, dun. Bass note comes after the triplet. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. If that's too difficult, just miss out that middle part of the triplet. That's fine. This next bar, from the third line now, we're getting through this verse too much quicker now because it's easier than verse 1 and it's similar. I actually play the whole E major shape there. Alright, it's all in place. As you can see, I don't play the A string. And then we're playing that D string a few times, yeah. But you take the shape off, and only on the double twos there are you going to bring the A minor shape back down. So dun 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 dun. So you kind of just moving it down, these two fingers only, moving them down a string, right? Dun, 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 dun. Back to F again, so we have one more of this. We stick together and we see it through. So start with the F shape, like that. We stick together and we... This bit's a little weird, because we hit that D string 3 times there, don't we? Then we have E major again to A minor. Just the very nature of doing this, you kind of have a little silence there, hence my little rest you can see there. Now this is just like verse 1. As soon as we get the A minor shape, we're back to verse 1. It's the same thing. So that third line all together we had. See it through, 'cause you got a friend in me. Yeah, you got a friend in me. Some other folks might... So you'll notice this final part of the verse exactly like verse 1, right? We have this turnaround, if you like. So it's still... Yeah, you got a friend in me. But now we have an extra bar here, which brings us into the bridge. So it's really cool if you can get this. It's like a chromatic thing. If we get that within our C major chord here, it can sound really nice. It brings us into the bridge. So remember, we've done our fast slide. Then we've got the number 2 there, the D string. Alright, then we got A and B string. Just how we normally would. But, bring that first finger off, we got 2 zeros. Bass note again. Then, come into a C7 shape and hit those 2 same strings. Just practice doing that with the shape. Bom, bom. So the last 4 bits of this bar, just do that. Bom, 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 bom. Because you're bringing 1st and 4th off and on, it's a little strange. Alright, we are at the bridge now, guys. Amazing work for getting this far. Alright, the bridge is just 2 lines, as you can see. It is a little tricky, just like the rest of the song. But then we only have one more final verse, which is shorter, by the way, than the other verses. And again, it's very similar. So stick with me. If you need to, just come back another day for the rest of the song. Okay, I did not learn this song in one day. It took me a whole week to figure out and learn this song. So, and I play professionally, right? So just take your time with this. One section a day is fine. So have a look at this bridge tab, right? We just come out of our C chord. We have to move from our C chord. So just get your C7 chord ready, just so you practice this moving. C7, move to F. Right, we do both at the same time in D string. So for this first bar, just get that first half down. Dun 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 dun. Again, we've got those triplets. 1, 2, 3. Then isolate the second half of this bar, which is easier, and do that on its own. Right. do it again and again until it feels good. Then you connect them together, right? Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. So when we move to this B7 shape, we can leave the middle finger where it was already from that F chord, but the first finger comes up to give us B in the bass. This part's quite nice because it falls on the beat a bit more. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Right. Little smarter than I am, little smarter than I am. The bass note's still ticking over, remember? Bum 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 bum. That's quite hard to get the fast triplets. If you struggle with that, just ignore what he's singing. Just do that. Ba, da, 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 da. That's fine, okay? Like I say, you can simplify what I'm playing here. That works too. Or stronger too, maybe. Alright, this part's strange because we're going to have to adjust the fingers we might normally use for C, B, and then we have that cool thing. So start with your normal C major position, right? Third finger on A string, second on D string. Then add the first finger to the G string second fret. Okay, that's what he's singing. Again, 3 notes perfectly fine to begin with. Just practice that. Then, as you play that open G string, move straight away over to the B7 shape. And again, you do 3 notes. So together we have dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Like that. Now, we have to jump over for that last 2. You can either do first or second finger, but that will change the way you have your kind of major triad shape there. Alright, so third bar we have. Then, if you want to, you can try and squeeze in that hammer, which is weird because you play 3 strings at once and you're going to slide and hammer on the first finger. Can you see I'm doing 2 things at once? I slide over, but I also bring the first finger into the G string second fret, and then I play it again. So we have very strange. Work on this little chromatic thing first though. So we're going to play dun 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 dun. So you'll notice you have the triad shape, then the second finger has to come off, then back on. Dun 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 dun. It's off for the third one. On, off, on. Right? Now, that last one, before we bring in, that's the one when you play all 3 strings. And then you can hammer on the finger as you slide. So the first line, I'll sing the words as well if that helps you stay along with it. So we have, some other folks might be a little smarter than I am, bigger and stronger too, maybe. Then the second line, but none of them will ever love you the way I do. It's me and you, boy, and that's it. Into the last verse. So this last part's got a lot of pushed notes on the offbeat, which is quite confusing. So it's helpful to kind of sing or just imagine what he's singing. It does help with this second line especially. So we have. Alright, so first thing is going to cover that bass note. Second finger gets the 2 on the G string there. Now I stretch across my 4th finger for that second part there, right? Then 3rd finger jumps across because the bass note's moving up. So all together we have dun 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 dun. Just work on that really slowly. So we've still got this 4th finger in the same place on the G string. The first bit looks simple enough. Open G, open G. But it's this second half. It's odd, right? So just isolate the second half on its own a few times. And you can see there's a line, which means we slide down to the 2nd fret, right? As soon as we get there, we want to hit the low E string. Right? Then, pinky comes off. We do a little swap here to the 3rd finger on the D string. You can see that. So we have. So just work on that little movement there. Dun, dun, dun. And another bass note. Right. Then try and connect the end of that 2nd bar with the 3rd bar, like so. And again. Then, as soon as I do that last bass note, I'm moving down to the A minor shape, and I play the G and the B string, right? So again, from the 2nd bar, ending of it. So end of the 2nd bar and 3rd bar, we have this now. Then we're going to play for that last bar. So for this last bar, we're going to have to do a stretch here because we need to have D in the bass, but we've got notes on the D string, so we're going to have to use it here. So 4th finger, go 5 frets from the capo on the A string. That gives us our D, right? And as you can see, we have 2 at the same time. So use your 2nd finger for that one, 3rd fret on the D string. Just try and do that first half. Again, as soon as you hit the open string, you move over to the G note. Always practice the chord transitions. Alright, don't just play, because then you're training yourself to not move. Make sure you go. And then you can bring the 2nd finger in to finish that last part off. You see that? So that last bar, but none of them will ever feel the way I do. It's me and you, boy. Alright, amazing work everyone for getting this far. We are on the final verse, which is very short. By the way, it's basically just extra turnarounds. Very short what he sings, okay? And then we finish with a riff, which we know already, okay? To finish the whole song, all you have to do is go to a C major chord. So let's look at this final verse, all right? So here's the whole thing. As you can see, we kind of just have 6 bars, and then the last 5 bars is just the turnaround, kind of repeated in a slightly different way. All right, so the first part we have, as the years go by. Now we could try and do that, bye, but it doesn't really work fingerstyle. So we can just ignore the fact he sings that and just stick to, and as the years go by, our friendship will never die. Then we have, you're gonna see it's our destiny. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Yeah, you got a friend in me. Okay, so the turnaround's actually slightly different, annoyingly, just the way he sings it. But let's just work on this first part of the verse. So as you can see, it is the same. The first two bars are the same, but look at that final note. There's an open G string. Our friendship. It's because he sings our friendship. Our friendship. So we need to have the open G before we play the F chord. So just watch carefully from the beginning. And as the years go by, our friendship, our friendship never die. Okay, so just watch out for that. Then we come in on the F chord, 1, 3, 2 there, all at the same time. Let's work on the first three, boom, da, boom, doo, and then 4. And like before, we're gonna have to move up to our diminished shape, slightly different ordering. So we have that fourth bar is exactly the same as all the other verses, right? Now I really like this next bit, really cool. It goes, you're gonna see it's our destiny. Just start with that first bar we have. Let's work on that. Then the thumb moves up, but the first finger stays there. Bit of a stretch. Okay, if this is too much of a stretch, you can just use your fingers, right? If you'd rather do that, that's fine by me. I like the thumb. So just practice that bar slowly. You're gonna see it's our destiny. So have a look at the low note of this tab. You can see it goes chromatic. That's what the bass note does. Okay, really cool. The way we do that, we have C with G in the bass, E7 with A flat in the bass, then A minor. That's how we do it. So just be wary of that. Really take your time. Luckily there's a slight row. It slightly slows down on these 3 chords, which means you have a bit more time to change. So altogether this line we have, you're gonna see it's our destiny. You'll notice I really have to change position to get that chord there, right? I'm leaning forward more, elbows down, wrist is down, just so I can get that. Now look guys, you don't have to get this chromatic bass line. You want to make this easier? Just play this. We play C, E7, A minor. That's fine. So it would now sound like this. You're gonna see it's our destiny. You see that? It still works. You just don't get the cool bass line, and it doesn't look as impressive. Then to finish off this final verse, we just have a bunch of turnarounds, right? He starts with, you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Yeah, you got a friend in me. So you'll notice that this usually is 2 times the turnaround. For this final verse, it's 3 times, okay? And also, he doesn't sing the word, yeah, you. He just sings, you got a friend in me. And the second time he does it again, he goes, you got a friend in me. But on the third time, yeah, you got a friend in me. Okay, so just bear that in mind that this way, it's going to be slightly different. So look at this first part. Again, we have our D7 in position, but we're just going to play D string and E string. Just work on those first 4 notes. Like that. And again, you're moving up to G after you hit the G string. Right? You got a friend. You got a friend. work on that. You got a friend in me. Now because we don't have the yeah, you on this part, we can just play E7 like that. Can you see that right at the end? Yeah, then we move down. You got a friend in me, same thing. Yeah, you. But this time it's pushed, right? So just so we don't get confused here, just go back a second. So the start of the turnaround, we have you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Yeah, you got a friend in me. Now the final part of the whole song, I like to make this a 9th chord by adding the first finger, 2nd fret on the G string, then C major. You can, if you want to add a cool little effect here, just bring that 2nd finger on and off too. Alright guys, it's play along time. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. Make sure you subscribe as well. Hit the notification bell icon. Right, remember for the play along, you can go into the settings of the video and you can slow it down. But please, 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 any part you struggle with, hit the pause button and you just read the tab, you just play through it really slowly and you do it again and again and again. Okay, eventually it starts to become subconscious and that's when you can just play it in this kind of flowful state. But initially, you're not going to be able to just read the tab and play along. It's too difficult. Okay, you just have to do one bar at a time, but always be aware that you need to connect it to the next bar. If there's an open string, you want to be moving to the next chord in advance, right? So keep thinking about that as you play along with me, practice this, okay? Good luck with it. Any of you that managed to play the whole thing, make sure that you tag me in my Instagram account with your video, all right? I'll see you in the next lesson, guys. Thanks for watching. Good luck.